Most men crumble under pressure, but not the ones who master this. If you want unshakable confidence and emotional strength, then keep watching. We're going live. We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
Only 10 minutes of edging the algorithm. Not too bad, guys. Not too bad. Woo, thank God it's Friday. You know, I'm feeling much better today, man. Like Wednesday, God, I felt like a can of smashed up a-holes, I swear. But I still have my my Alka-Seltzer day cold medicine here with some emergency because I'm not out of the woods yet. I'm about 80%. About 80%. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. Look at this. I got this t-shirt from my Valentine, Nurse Chick. Nurse Chick gives me all my dirty t-shirts. So that was a Valentine's Day gift from Nurse Chick. And what did I get, Nurse Chick, you might ask? Well, I'm going to give her that Diquois, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway. All right. Anyway, guys, if you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer, and I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about leveling up and getting better with women is that it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. Guys, let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like life keeps throwing punches at you, and no matter what you do, you can't seem to stay grounded? One setback, one bad day, and it all spirals out of control. Does that sound familiar to any of you guys? It's frustrating, isn't it? You try to stay strong, but emotions take over. Anger, doubt, fear, and the worst part, people can sense it. Your woman, your boss, your friends, they respect the man who stays unshakable, not the one who crumbles. But what if you could build a rock solid emotional foundation? A mindset so disciplined that no setback, no test, and no challenge could shake you. Today, I'm breaking down the top 10 principles from chapter 9 of AJ's book. And it's all about how to cultivate emotional durability through discipline and become the kind of man who commands respect and never loses frame. Sound good? If you guys have been living under a rock, AJ's book is Psychology Emotion, which is book 3 in the Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence series. If you guys don't know what the Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence series is, it's a book series masterminded by R.P. Thor based on his first book, A Dominant Masculine Presence. I wrote the first book in the series, Psychology Paradigm, which I highly recommend you guys get. It's the only one that's on Audible. Rafe Deantor did one called Power Frame Identity, which is also a really good book. That was the second book. So AJ's book is book 3. There's some other people working on books now. I don't know what the status is of those books. That might end up being the only 3 books. Actually, no, that's not true. Thor wrote a book, and he wanted me to help him with it, format it and all that kind of stuff. And he just hasn't been feeling that well lately. So I haven't been able to get a lot of feedback from him, but we've done some work on that. There will be at least a 4th book in the series called something like The Hero Within or something like that. I'm going to have to go back and look at it. But yeah, so AJ's book is all about psychology emotion, which I think, even though we're all supposed to be these rational beings as men, we're supposed to be the rational ones and women are supposed to be the ones that are controlled by emotion. A lot of guys really let their emotions control them. And so it sort of behooves us and makes us more successful in life when we can learn to sort of control that a little bit, not suppress it, but control it a little bit. And that's what AJ's book really seeks to show men how to do that, right? How to cultivate that, not just emotional, what's the word here? Not just emotional control, but like emotional durability, right? So before we get into chapter 9, and we're almost done, we're going to go over chapter 10 next week, and then we'll wrap up the series with AJ's book. Before we get into that, though, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, no matter what. Even if I'm sick with the Rona of Jericho. And guys, if you are watching live right now, we have almost 20 people watching live. Sound off, okay? I want to hear from you guys. Don't be wallflowers, all right? Don't be lurkers. Participate a little bit. Drop your favorite emoji. It doesn't matter. I just want to see who's watching. Give you a shout out. And then if you guys find value in any of these episodes, do consider sending a super chat, because that supports the channel probably more than anything else. I was just looking at my taxes, right? On like the money I get from Spotify. It's like less than a tip jar. I think people who make tips make more money than I'm making on Spotify. It's really kind of pathetic. And then when it comes to advertising revenue on like YouTube, I'm constantly getting demonetized. They don't like the kind of content that I put out. So really, we are funded from viewers like you. And if you're getting value out of that, the super chats really do help pay the bills. All right. So we're going over chapter 9 in AJ's book. And the first concept here is the role of discipline in emotional durability. Okay. And Jocko Willink really put out a good video about this several years ago. It's called Discipline is Freedom. And I can't remember who he did that for, but it was a really good, and I think he might even have a book called Discipline is Freedom, but he put out a really good video. It's not too long. I think it was for PragerU. And he really breaks it down well about how like having discipline and how it's greater than motivation. A lot of people are waiting to be motivated to do something, but motivation is a feeling, it comes and goes, but being disciplined means like you do something no matter what, right? I have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday because I've been disciplined to do it. So I have it no matter what, even if I don't feel like it, there's an episode coming out, right? So discipline as the foundation. Without discipline, emotional durability collapses at the first sign of adversity, or the first sign you feel like you don't feel like it. You know what I mean? And I've seen guys like this. I've seen guys who have really come a long way. I've seen guys in like beer club that have done this, right? Guys who have sort of been emotionally weak, and they've done a lot of work. They've done like the affirmation stuff, and they've gotten really consistent with it. And they've put in, a lot of time and effort, and they're going to the gym and they're working on their mental frame and all that kind of stuff. And then they have one bad moment and it all comes crashing down, right? They're not emotionally durable yet, right? And I'm not beating those guys up. It's something that takes a lot of effort to do. That's why we have this book, right? That's why we have this series, The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence series. It's to help guys develop that. It doesn't come overnight. It takes consistent effort. It takes discipline to build this, right? Framework for stability. So disciplined routine ensures resilience by keeping emotions in check. Another reason why having a framework helps is because it gives you something to work on every day. You know what I mean? It's like having a daily exercise, like a daily journaling exercise or a daily affirmation exercise. It gives you a function to do where you're like, I'm doing this every day, no matter what, right? It's like going to the gym. I go to the gym every day, no matter what. If you have that framework of exercises that you do every day to help build this, you can become more consistent at it, and that consistency will seep into your subconscious more, which is all about what my book is about. Psychology Paradigm is about reprogramming your subconscious to do this kind of stuff automatically, like have that muscle memory, right? So you got to have a framework for that. That's what this book's about. And then commanding respect. So discipline shapes how others perceive you, making you a stable, reliable presence, right? If you are a person of discipline, someone who you go to the gym every day, right? You do these exercises every day. You eat right every day. And people see that, a lot of people like look up to that, right? A lot of people can't, I mean, they can do it. Everyone's capable of doing it, but mentally they can't do it right now, you know? And so a lot of people see you doing that kind of thing and people look up to that and they're like, wow, I want to be like that guy. I'm inspired to be like that guy, right? Because he's so disciplined. Look at that guy. That's a part of having a dominant masculine presence, right? A dominant masculine presence is something that people notice, you know, and some of that comes with discipline. That a part of that is discipline. People see that, right? And they respect that. So why discipline matters for emotional durability? Okay, that's the next concept. It's about your internal compass, right? Discipline keeps you on a course even when life throws unexpected challenges at you, right? Like, for instance, Wednesday, I felt like absolute dog water, but I'm disciplined. I have a podcast no matter what. I went for my run on Wednesday. I still felt like crap. I don't think I didn't run as fast as I normally do, you know, but I still ran. I still worked out on my total gym. I've been doing drop sets lately on my total gym. My drop sets on the total gym have been really nice. I like that. I'm going to keep doing that for a while. It's so funny. I've had a total gym for years and I like to switch up, right? Like I'll do calisthenics for a couple weeks or a couple months. I have a Gold's Gym, like all in one machine that, you know, I could do real heavy weights with that out in my garage gym. I have free weights. I have a power bar, you know, I have all that kind of stuff. And then in my bedroom now, I have a new total gym. I used to have one years ago, but anyway, I like to switch things up, keep myself guessing. I'm going off on a tangent here. And I've had a total gym for years and I've known about drop sets for years, but I've never done drop sets on a total gym until I got back from the Jericho cruise. Cause on the Jericho cruise, and while I was in Miami, I was doing drop sets in like the hotel gym and the ship's gym and stuff. And I was like, I'm going to do drop sets on the total gym. Like you're using body weight and it's all about like the angle of the total gym. Right. And then there's bungee cords at the bottom of mine to add more resistance, but you can just, you know, put max resistance and then just drop it down until you're going to failure. Works the same way. Anyway, went off on a completely different tangent, right? So discipline keeps you on course even when life throws unexpected challenges. Well, my unexpected challenge on Wednesday was that I had the Rona of Jericho. Wasn't feeling good, but I'm disciplined. I still did the show, you know, still put out a show. Control over emotions. That prevents emotional spiraling and reinforces rational decision making. Man, it's really easy to let things spiral us downwards because we have, and it's one of the things I learned when I was studying NLP to become certified in NLP. Like we have this negativity bias. I talk about it on the podcast periodically, right? If something negative happens, it's so easy to stew in that. It's so easy to stay in that negativity and let it spiral us downwards. And it takes discipline and awareness to go, no, I am not going to do that. We are not going to do that anymore, right? And then you have to actively force yourself out of it. You have to actively snap yourself out of it. There's different ways of doing it. One way I was having one of my legacy clients do was what we call an instant state change in NLP. Like he would be spiraling downwards and I would have him do an instant state change, which is where you stop, look, listen, smell, right? And you just stop what you're doing. You look around your environment and start just noticing everything in your room, right? You start listening for the sounds around you, okay? And then you just take a deep breath in, smell, and try to smell what the air smells like. See if you can smell anything. You know, maybe someone's cooking. I don't know. Maybe someone passed gas or something. I don't know. But you try to smell something, right? Like, what's the air smell like? What you're basically doing in that moment is forcing yourself out of your head and thinking about the negative things that are going on in your life. And it forces you into the present moment, right? It snaps you out of it. Then now that you're snapped out of it, now you can focus on the positive. Now you can start thinking about something more positive. That's one way of doing it. Another way of trying to snap yourself out of it is like listening to some like upbeat music. You know, listen. I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before. If you listen to "Happy" by Pharrell, it's really hard to be in a bad mood with that song, right? It's such an upbeat, fun song. So if I'm in a shitty mood, like I'll put that music on and sit there and think about how happy I am, right? Like I'll do that because I do not want to spiral into negative thinking and negative feelings and stuff like that if I ever do that. And I'm human, like we all do that, right? You can't stay positive all the time. But if you catch yourself, and that's where awareness comes in, you can snap yourself out of that, right? And then you can be more rational and stuff like that when you're thinking a little more clearly, right? You get out of your own head about the negativity. And then a magnetic presence, right? A disciplined man exudes stability, drawing people towards him, which is same thing as commanding respect. And that's a part of what we're doing with cultivating this dominant masculine presence, right? We want to have that magnetic presence, and you can do that through disciplined emotional control, stuff like that. When people see that things don't bother you as much, they're like, man, that guy is just a rock, right? Nothing rattles that guy. Like people respect that kind of thing. You know what I mean? All right, guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. You'll get my free ebook, She's Made You Weak, which really explains why attraction tends to erode in a relationship. And if your relationship has been going downhill over the last couple of years or so, you'll definitely want to read that to see what's happening, what you can do about it. And then if you want to go into depth on how to turn things around, get my latest book, we're past the 8-minute mark, Get Her to Fuck You Again, a red pill guide to fix a dead bedroom. But we are talking about AJ's book today, which is Psychology of Motion, right? And I would play a commercial for AJ's book, although these episodes on Frame Fridays lately have been one big ass commercial for AJ. He hasn't ever made a specific commercial for it. So we'll play a commercial for my book, Psychology Paradigm, which is in the same series. And I recommend you guys get all the books in the Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence series, because you're going to get a lot of value out of those. But let me play a commercial for that, and then we'll get back to AJ's book. Have you ever felt like something's holding you back in your relationships? Like you're always on the back foot, struggling to connect with women? You're not alone. Many men are taught to be weak, to defer, to play small around women by their upbringing, by society, by the very world that shaped them. But what if you could break free from the invisible chains that have held you back? What if you could rewrite the script, reprogram the paradigm that's been running your life? This is your chance to step into the man you were always meant to be. In the Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, Psychology Paradigm by Paul Bauer, the first book in R.P. Thor's groundbreaking series, you'll learn how to understand and transform the paradigms that have shaped your life. You'll discover how to develop a dominant masculine presence, one that commands respect, inspires trust, and brings fulfillment to your relationships. Don't wait for life to change on its own. Take control. Order your copy of The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, Psychology Paradigm now on Amazon. Available in hardcover, paperback, or on Kindle. This is more than a book. It's your roadmap to a life of purpose, strength, and success. Make the decision today. Reprogram your life and step into the man you were meant to be. Yes, indeed. Let's see what we got here. Dondra says, let's fucking go. Kamal says, Paul is late because he has told Nurse Chick to make him a sandwich for Valentine's Day. Yeah, Nurse Chick's not here today, man. She ain't here. She can't make me a sandwich even if she wanted to. She would, though. She totally would. Morning, gents. Thank God it's Friday. Yes, happy VD Day. Nurse Chick says, good morning, gentlemen. Happy steak and blowjob day. God damn it, Nurse Chick.
You're so naughty.
You're so naughty.
I'm going to come.
Oh, I will. You don't worry about that. Mm-hmm. And then CW says, sounds like lots of bad juju when that happens. I don't know what you're talking about. And then Nurse Chick says, Paul deserves more than a sandwich. Oh, thanks, babe. Alex Patino says, what's up, you British cigarettes? The governor says, get those books. Yes, get all the Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence books. Ed says, some see some cheeks. I guess he wants to see that ass. Okay, well, he is a beer club brother, and so we do bump him up to the next super chat. But $5 gets you the $10 super chat, which is the bubs. It's the bubs, and then the $20 super chat is the ass, or is the ass the $10 super? Oh fuck it, we'll give him the ass. Okay. Super chat will see you there. Shake it, dance without a care. Send it love from everywhere. Groovy beats we all can share. Your support is so divine. Moving closer to the line. Thank you, you're the best. Party on, we never rest. Yeah. I can't remember like what I said was what super chat. All I do is remember is the you dirty foot fetish guys have to pay $30 for that weird ass video. And Kamal says, that's right, Nurse Chick. He deserves a new shirts for every episode he does. Yeah. And speaking of shirts, I've been wearing collared shirts, because I got to be a professional. I am a professional men's relationship coach, so I want to look more professional. But God damn it, I have to wear this shirt today. Had to. Plus, I don't have any breakthrough calls scheduled for today, and I don't have any client sessions scheduled for today. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to wear the 2-seater shirt. Erkin says, hi, folks. Hey, what's up, Erkin? Okay, you need to establish an ass, boob, footsie rate card. Okay. What do you mean by that? What do you mean a rate card? Oh, God. Patino says, tig old biddies, happy VD day. All right. We'll give Alex the bouncing bubs video. Yeah, just to balance things out. This one really should be a $20 super chat, but that's okay. Alex is a good guy.
Thank you for the super chats. Boobies bouncing, can't stop that. From the east to the west, you are the best. Keep those chats coming in, let's do it all again.
And demonetized. Oh God. All right. So the next concept here is building emotional durability through daily habits. So your daily habits actually create a compounding effect. It's weird. It's like it's kind of like when Jordan Peterson says, if you want to have a successful life, make your bed in the morning, right? Because when you get up in the morning and you make your bed, like that starts the day off, right? And then everything compounds after that. I don't think you necessarily have to make your bed every morning, but you get the point, right? If you go to the gym and you knock out a good set, and then you go to work and you knock off some goals, right? Like, you have some like your to-do list and you're knocking shit off, like you feel accomplished, right? That sort of builds momentum throughout the day. So it has a compounding effect. So small daily actions like journaling or meditation, that builds long-term resilience, And so there's daily actions you can take that AJ talks about in his book on building that emotional durability. There's little things that you could do day by day that make you a little bit better every day with your emotional control, your emotional resilience, and eventually your emotional durability, right? One thing that he recommends is mental toughness through training, through physical training, right? Pushing through discomfort and fitness translates to handling emotional stress. One of the most challenging things I've ever done, and I was telling my son about this yesterday, like I'm never doing it again, is the year I trained for a marathon, like a couple of years ago, I trained for a full marathon. And so the reason why I don't like that is it's just not fun. It's not fun, super painful. But that whole year I basically had to give up every weekend to train for it, because I was running every weekend, leading up to the marathon. And then I would sign up for like half marathons. I signed up for like an 18-mile trail run up on the Grand Mesa that year. I did this crazy like 14-mile ridiculous trail run in Marble, Colorado. That was probably the worst run out of all of it. And man, by the time I was done with the marathon, I mean, it really does force you to push through like physical pain and like, fatigue and all that kind of stuff. That kind of stuff forces you, to harness those emotions, right? To push through that kind of shit. But man, that wasn't fun. And then by the end of the marathon, like I could barely walk, right? I have really bad feet, I have flat feet. And so like by the time I was done with the marathon, I could barely walk, but luckily Nurse Chick, that year when I was running those marathons, Nurse Chick bought a massage table just to rub me down. Like that's the kind of woman, Nurse Chick is, right? She bought it. She didn't have to, right? Like she could just massage me on the bed or something, but no, she bought a massage table, right? She went all out for that sort of thing. But yeah, that kind of physical toughness. I mean, you don't have to go that extreme, right? Like running a marathon is pretty extreme. Like only 1% of the population will ever or has ever ran a marathon, But there's other things you could do. Just going to the gym and lifting heavy on a daily basis and making that a habit builds that mental toughness. It builds that discipline up. You have to push through some of that pain, and then the next day when your muscles are feeling sore and stuff like that, you gotta push through all that kind of stuff. That builds mental toughness as well. And the consistency over comfort, right? Choosing disciplined daily strengthens emotional durability over time. When I talk about, I work out no matter what, like even if I'm feeling shitty and I push through that, that's exactly what we're talking about, and it actually pushing through that physical illness to go and make sure that I'm at least doing something in the gym. That's exactly what it does. Right. And it strengthens that emotional durability. Cause I'm like, if I can do this, if I can push through the Rona of Jericho and still go on a 4-mile run, like I'm a little bit of a badass, right? It sort of gives you, that sort of mental boost that almost like an ego boost. Right. But it's good. Like you see where I'm going with that. Like like you will almost like be more proud of yourself that you pushed yourself through that than if you were like, pussied out and man-colded yourself on the couch instead of going out and doing what you needed to do, I have to be on my fucking deathbed in order to not do my workout for the day. I literally have to be so feverish that I'm like, all right, now I'm going to have to, but I'll make it up the next day when the fever's broken, right? Like I'll make that shit up because I'm like, I mama didn't raise no bitch, right? Oh man, but there's I've seen it in beer club, especially new guys that haven't built up that discipline yet. Like a lot of the guys in the fitness accountability group, those guys are hardcore, right? They're posting their workouts every fucking day, no matter what. But I've seen like new guys come in and like they might start off okay and then they fall off, right? We have a new guy that started a couple of weeks ago. It might have posted like 2 workouts. I haven't seen him post shit since then. It's like, bro, where you at? He needs to really develop that discipline. I don't think he's quite there yet. Discipline in relationships and boundaries, maintaining healthy boundaries, right? Discipline ensures emotional control and prevents reactive behaviors. True. And the healthy boundaries thing, like we've been talking about that ad nauseum lately, but if you have discipline, even when it comes to boundaries, you won't let things slide, right? Because sometimes you're just like, I want to pick my battles today. I'm not gonna force that, right? Well, over time, that causes problems, right? So you have to be disciplined and be like, you have to be okay with having the uncomfortable conversations when you have to, no matter what, and that's part of maintaining and enforcing boundaries, and women are really good about manipulating their way and seeing if they can get around your boundaries, and they'll test and shit. And the moment you crumble, the moment they lose respect for you and you fail their fucking test, right? So you always gotta keep your head on a fucking swivel with that shit. And so that requires a little bit of discipline. You want to avoid emotional reactivity, so responding with calm rather than anger or fear reinforces masculinity. That's one of the hardest things for men to learn. It's so easy for women to push our buttons and to get us up in our feels. But as soon as that she's able to do that, you failed her shit test. She needs to see that you're this emotional rock that she can't get her way with. And the more she sees that, the more respect she'll have for you and the more she'll love you, And so it takes a lot of effort, at least at first, for guys to learn that, to learn like, hey, don't take what your girl says so seriously. In fact, make fun of her a little bit when she says stuff instead of like reacting out of emotion. And if you do find yourself like getting pissed off about something, it's so important for you to just take a step back and think about it for a minute before you reply, right? And then you can avoid that reactivity and respond more rationally and use the tools that we give you in the space, like, agree and amplify and be indifferent and amuse mastery and defogging and like all the cool tools that we give you to handle those types of situations, right? Because if you're not emotionally reacting, you could think about it for a minute. Okay, what tool in the toolbox do I have for this? Okay, I'll hit her with the fogging, right? That's responding from rationality as opposed to reacting from emotion. And testing and frame. So women test men's discipline, and failing those tests weakens attraction and respect. And I talk about that in Get Her to Fuck You Again quite a bit, because that's the beginning of the betatization process, right? Women will test you, and the more you fail it, that slides you down the scale of the betatization process, where she loses attraction over time, and eventually she's not fucking you anymore, and you're like, wow, now I need to call Paul now, right? But if you can learn to handle those tests and be really good at that, you can change that dynamic around in your relationship. Guys, I mentioned Beer Club a couple of times. Get in Beer Club, beer.comeonmanpod.com. It's a great group of guys. We have over 50 guys in there. They're in there swapping notes and leveling up in all areas of their life. Our next meetup will be next week on Thursday on the 20th. So if you've been thinking about joining and you want to join the call and have some drinks with the boys, you don't have to drink alcohol, because a lot of people see the word Beer Club and they're like, I don't drink beer though. It's like, it's just a name. You can drink your Alka-Seltzer cold medicine if you want. It doesn't matter. You can drink water. You don't have to drink anything. It doesn't matter. It's just about guys getting together and talking about guy shit. And then guys, if you're having problems in your relationship, right? Like if you really have noticed that the attraction's been fading, you've been married for a while, like let's say, over 7 years, and you notice that things just aren't what they used to be. And like you want to have sex with your wife, she barely puts out, if at all. And you want to turn that dynamic around because, you still love her. You still love her. You still want to keep that family intact. You made vows. You take your vows seriously. That's fine. Right. A lot of people in the red pill space like shit on marriage, and they say, oh, marriage is a bad deal for men. It might be, but a lot of guys didn't get that memo and they pulled the trigger already, and now they're in a committed marriage, and now that marriage is going downhill. Like, we could save some of these marriages out here. We don't have to end all of them just because the state says that makes it unfair for guys. Like, these guys made a choice and they want to build a family and they want to have the happily ever after. Well, a lot of guys just don't have the skills. None of us were given the right skills for this. Most of us weren't. And we've learned bad relationship habits from our parents and our uncles and like just the people around us. And we just think that life, like life's normal this way. Like we're supposed to be miserable, and then our wives file for divorce, and like, doesn't have to be that way. Right? If you have the skills, you could maintain this and it could be a really glorious thing. I mean, great examples of red pill guys with long-term marriages that have been successful. RP Thor, right? Rolo, Ryan Stone. He's not legally married, but he's been with his girl for, 12 or 13 years now. And Aaron Clary, like this stuff works if you learn how to use it. And you can be happy in a monogamous situation, okay? But if you want to turn things around and things just aren't where they need to be, that's where you need to book a call, okay? Book a call with me at call.fixedadbedrooms.com. All right. Strategic environment curation. This is, we're getting back to AJ's book here, guys. We're on chapter 9 if you're just joining us. Strategic environment curation. So surrounding yourself with the right people. Toxic environments erode emotional durability. Have you ever heard the concept that you're the product of the 5 people you hang out with the most? Right? If you go to the bars all the time and the guys at the bars are all depressed and they're all drinking their sorrows away, and and those are your buddies, like you're going to fall in line with that kind of mental thinking, and life sucks. That's why hanging around with like on MGTOW, MGTOW black pill type channels where everything is negative, it's not good, because you're just going to be the next negative person. Everyone's going to be in there like commiserating together, and no one's ever doing anything to level up, right? But if you get with a good group of guys that they're all trying to work on the same thing and level up, and make friends with those types of guys, you're going to level up too, right? It's almost like by osmosis, So surround yourself with the right people. Like if you have a vision of having a healthy and loving relationship, like get with other guys that are trying to like do that sort of thing. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to hang out with other entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why I love the coaching program that I'm in with my coach Nikki and my coach Mark, because I'm in there with other people that are trying to build businesses, and so it's and there's some of the people are like doing really great, right? Like they'll have $80,000 or $100,000 sales months, and that's just an individual doing like coaching type offers, right? And like I'm like, I'd love to be there at some point. So I'm hanging out with those people like, hey, what are you doing? Trying to learn that stuff. So surrounding yourself with the people that will help you get to where you want to go, it's paramount, right? It's important. You want to eliminate negative influences. So distance from chaos fosters emotional growth. Now, AJ really had to do this. He's had to do this several times. Like his family, I guess, is really toxic. So he's had to basically cut off ties with his family just to avoid all that sort of negativity and stuff like that. He's also pulled away a lot from the men's podcast space. I think that might be something to do with it too. I don't know. I can't get a hold of him. Although I try to be a positive person. I'm not sure why. I think he's just sort of cold turkey almost everybody. I don't know. There's still some people that are in contact with him though. So thank God he's doing okay. But yeah, you want to eliminate those negative influences, right? Because the more you surround yourself with negative people, the more you're going to just want to be a crab in a bucket type thing. And those negative people just want to pull you down. So you want to choose growth-oriented type relationships. And that's not just romantic relationships, but work relationships, friendships, and romantic relationships, right? So a strong network reinforces that discipline and resilience. Like one of the things I love about my relationship with Nurse Chick is that, she's on board. She's on board with the program, and she sees that I'm just constantly working on myself. I'm always reading new books. I'm always studying new stuff. I'm coaching guys on this stuff. That's one of the reasons why I do it. But I also just want to be the best man I can be. And so it sort of inspires her to do the same thing. So she goes to the gym all the time. She's always reading new books. Like she's always trying to level up. She went back to school to be a nurse practitioner to level up in her career and all that kind of stuff. And eventually she's going to be my sugar mama. And that's my 5-year plan, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like we have a growth oriented type relationship, where we're always looking at how we can be better people. And that sort of helps us in our relationship too. Reframing setbacks as growth opportunities. I talk about that in my book, and AJ's talks about it in his book. I also talk about it in Get Her to Fuck You Again. It's having a growth oriented mindset is huge. It'll change your life. Having a growth-oriented mindset, right? So that's where you look at, like, there's no such thing as winning and losing, right? It's winning and learning. You can look at every failure as a lesson. Look at Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison failed making a light bulb like 10,000 times. And when someone asked him like, hey man, didn't it feel bad? Like, failing 10,000 times at making the light bulb. And he was like, no, I learned 10,000 ways not to do it. Right. He looked at it as a learning opportunity, So every failure is a lesson, not a roadblock. And that also gives you some strength through adversity, right? So hardship, right? Hard times, that builds stronger emotional foundations. That's why they say like hard times create strong men. I saw a clip from Joe Rogan where he said guys with like really strong mental frame and mental durability, none of those guys did that by having a smooth life. Like guys with that kind of mental conditioning went through some shit, right? So if you look at it that way, when you're going through hard times, like this is going to make me stronger. What did Nietzsche say? Like that which doesn't kill us makes us stronger. If you look at it from that mental point of view, you have a growth mindset, and it's a good skill to have, right? It's a good mental frame to be in. Like when you're going through some challenges, you're like, man, what can I learn from this? You're gonna get through life a lot easier that way. And then maintaining frame under pressure, right? How you handle setbacks defines your masculine presence. And that's where women really judge you from. That's where shit tests come from, right? That's where women lose attraction for you, is because they're testing your frame under, by applying some pressure to it. And if you crumble, they can't trust your leadership. They can't trust your masculine leadership. And they're like, this guy gives me the ick. I don't even know why. How you handle setbacks defines your masculine presence. This is one of the reasons why I have a running hypothesis that women don't typically leave men when they lose their jobs or they fall on bad times or they get ill or injured or whatever. What tends to happen is men have weak frame, and under those conditions, they basically give up on themselves. They become woe is me. They become like, almost like depressed. And women just don't want to stay around that kind of negativity. They're like, man, this guy's got a weak mental frame. I can't trust him to provide and protect for the relationship. It has nothing to do with like money or whatever. It's like, I can't trust this man to be the strong masculine leader I need in a relationship. And they'll leave, because you're mentally weak, right? It's not that women are necessarily being shitty, although I would agree that's kind of a shitty thing to do. It's more of like their natural survival instinct, right? It's their monkey brain at work, right? But if you don't have that strong mental frame, like, can you even blame them? Can you, I mean, if you think about it, like, can you blame them? Like, would you stick around someone who's given up on themselves? I unconditional love, man. I made vows. Actually, I think statistically they say that men leave women when women have terminal illnesses. Like, I guess statistically men leave women more than women leave men. I don't know the truth behind all that. I don't like statistics that much, but still, you hear a lot of guys in the space say, if I lost a job and my wife left me, or I got sick and my wife left me. It's like, well, how were you acting when that happened? Like, did you act like I can handle this? Like, doesn't work, I'll figure it out, don't worry about it? Or were you like, oh, I'm so depressed and no one wants to hire me and woe is me? Like, how are you acting? Anyway, something to think about. AI is probably going to clip that, and I'm going to get a bunch of hate speech from fucking black pill doomers. The role of stoicism in emotional durability. I talk about stoicism a little bit in my book. AJ talks about stoicism in his book, but he also talks about Bushido in his book, which I like. Wraith talks about stoicism. Stoicism's a prominent concept in the red pill space, and it really is, because it comes down to frame control and like mind control and emotional durability, like all this stuff. The Stoics were practicing this stuff that, like, thousands of years ago, or at least hundreds of years ago. I don't know. When was Marcus Aurelius around? Let's see, Marcus Aurelius. Let's see, from 161. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So yeah, thousands of years ago. All right. Anyway, back on track here. I'm like, Paul, is this history lesson? No. I'm starting to read Aaron Clary's book, Zero World Problems, that son of a bitch. Right. So far, I've noticed some things that are like a glaring problems. I'm gonna do a special live video where I break down like 5 things I hate about his fucking book. But one of them is he puts out timelines, for cavemen and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if that's accurate. Aaron Clary. Anyway, I'll have to look that up. But if it is accurate, I'll be even mad. I'll be even more mad that it's accurate. I'm like, fuck you, Aaron Clary. Anyway. All right, stoicism. So control over reactions, right? Focus on what you can control and look over the rest. That's all you can do, right? Control the controllable. That's one of the paramount things when it comes to like dread game and repairing your relationship. A lot of guys, when they first come to me, they want me to like fix their wife, right? Or they try to do things in order to fix their wife. It's like, you can't control what she's doing. You can only control yourself. That's sort of a stoic, way of thinking. You can't make her love you. All you can do is make yourself more fuckable, right? Make yourself more attractive, right? She either gets on board or she doesn't. You can't control what she's going to do, right? You have to control the controllable. You only have control over your thoughts and actions. That's it. That's the only thing you have control over. You want detachment from external validation. That's a hard thing when it comes to dread game too, right? So stoicism prevents emotional instability from others' opinions. So a lot of guys, when they come to fix a relationship, this has nothing to do with AJ's book. That's just a concept from it. But when people want to fix their relationship, a lot of times their motivation is to get their wife to do something specific, right? Like, get my wife to fuck me again. That's an example. So everything they do, they're doing it to see what kind of reaction their wife is doing, And so they have this, they're sort of seeking validation when they do that. And when she's not reacting the way that they think she should, and she's not giving them that validation, well, that sort of makes them want to quit doing the work and making themselves a better person, making themselves more fuckable. So the key, it's almost like a paradox, right? In order for dread game to fully work, you have to stop focusing on your wife and her reactions to the stuff. Although it's kind of a nice to know thing. Like, is she responding well to this or isn't she? If she is or isn't, it doesn't matter. Like, you got to look at it like you're like a science experiment, right? You're just taking data. You don't really care if she responds good, great. If she responds bad, great. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, right? You have to let go of that attachment to outcome. And when you do that, when you detach from that external validation of your wife's reactions to stuff, now you're actually going to start seeing serious results, because you're not you don't have that validation seeking behavior anymore, which is an unattractive trait, right? So it's like, it's hard to get guys there because their initial motivation is to get their wife to do something specific, right? So it's like, okay, that's your initial motivation. Now we got to forget all about that. It's hard to get guys to wrap their minds around that. Maintaining composure under stress, right? A calm, rational approach reinforces your masculine presence, right? If you are the strong, steady rock during adversity, people definitely respect that more. They trust your leadership more. They want to follow your lead more. That's all. You have to like work at that though. It's not easy. Leveraging physical training for emotional strength. So mental resilience through physical pain. We talked about that a little bit, right? Hard training builds the ability to withstand discomfort, right? If you go to a boxing gym and you're sparring every day and you're taking hits and stuff like that, like at first it might suck, but eventually you get sort of used to it. It makes you not scared in a fight to be able to take a punch. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. It's the same thing. If you put yourself through that kind of physical adversity, you can overcome lots of different things, Daily discipline translates to life. So commitment to fitness mirrors commitments to emotional growth. When you become more disciplined in like one area of your life, it's way easier to compound and become more disciplined in other areas of your life, But that's one of the big reasons why Red Pill says hit the gym. right? Get disciplined in the gym, because that's a good starting place to develop that discipline. Examples of high achievers in the book. He gives a shout out to John Fitch. Basically all of us on the Rule Zero panel, but specifically he gives a shout out to John Fitch, former MMA world champion, RP Thor, who developed this book series and wrote the original A Dominant Masculine Presence. And he gave a shout out to me, which is really cool. Thanks, AJ. And he showcases the link between training and emotional fortitude. And then we have a long-term commitment to emotional resilience. So you got to realize that building this emotional resilience and eventually emotional durability, it's not a quick fix. It's not overnight. It's one of the things I talk about in Psychology Paradigm. You can't read that book once and then automatically have a dominant masculine paradigm, and one of the things I recommend you do is, at the very least, get the audio book of my book. I don't think AJ is working on an audio book. Thor was, but Thor, he's not feeling well. So I don't know if that's ever going to get done, but I have an audio book out for my book, and I recommend you at least listen to it 10 to 15 times, if not like once a year after that, because just listening to this stuff on repeat is going to help build that mental framework up, seep it into your subconscious mind, seek it into your paradigm, so it becomes a habit, but it's going to take a long time to build that up, especially if you were never taught this growing up. You've got to sort of create new habits around this. So daily practices are key, right? So small disciplined efforts creates the lasting impact. And then a strong masculine presence is created through that consistency. So being able to endure hard times, going through your physical training and being able to endure that kind of physicality, all that kind of stuff, and lead, all that kind of stuff, having that strong masculine presence, that's going to come from that sustained commitment to working on those types of things. And then finally, we have integrating emotional durability with a life purpose. What is your purpose? With my coaching clients, with my, my one-on-one coaching clients, if you go to call.fixdeadbedrooms.com, the guys that want to work with me and, they're a good fit for the program. Like, one of the things I have them do is figure out what the fuck their purpose is. Like, do you even know, like, if I asked you today, what's your purpose in life? A lot of people think, oh, well, I'm a construction worker, like they think purpose is whatever career field they're in or whatever job it is. It's not necessarily. And I was telling this to a client last night, because this is exactly what we're working on. We're working on his personal mission statement. And one of the things I told him, I said, I have this friend who, when I knew him, he was a desktop tech, right? And desktop techs make decent money. They aren't in the 6-figure club by any means, but they make pretty good money. And he was a pretty good desktop tech. And the thing is that that's not what his mission was. That's not his purpose in life. His passion was music. He was a drummer in a band, and he would play in a local band in San Diego. And at night, he and his band would go and play the clubs around town. And on the weekends, they would travel up and down the coast and play in various venues and stuff up and down the coast. But he couldn't make a living at that. So he was a desktop tech to pay the bills, right? But if you ever asked him, like, hey, what do you do, man? Like, what, like when people ask you, what do you do? Most people tell what your profession is. He would say, oh, I'm a musician. I'm a drummer. Right. Well, and then I'm like, you don't tell people you're a desktop tech? He goes, no, man, that's just a job. That's just a job. Right. So your purpose in life doesn't have to be the work you do. It could be something that you're really passionate about, so something to think about. Right. But, purpose as the driving force. So a strong purpose strengthens emotional resilience. Like, if you have a why, like a reason why you're doing this, and it can't be your wife, right? It's gotta be something about you, something personal to you. Cause a lot of times when I'm sitting these guys down saying, what's your purpose in life? And they're like, oh, I want to be a good husband and a father. And it's like, it's all about them. you know? And it's like, that's because we're conditioned to be plow horses, to set ourselves on fire, to keep everybody else warm. But it's never about you being your own mental point of origin and being like, yeah, I go to the gym because I want to be the best in the best physical fitness for myself, right? I want to live to be 200 fucking years old, you know? So I'm going to eat right. I'm going to do all this stuff, right? It has nothing to do with the family. It's like, why am I doing this? And if you don't make it about you, you got a weak foundation there, right? So you've got to make this stuff about you. Like, what's your purpose? What's driving you forward? You know, what makes you want to get up in the morning, right? And having that purpose gives you that why, like all this other stuff that will help you along that path, that vision. Like, it's much easier to do, you know, when you have a purpose and a vision and a goal that you're working towards. Like, so all this other stuff sort of works towards that. Alignment with core values, right? Staying true to your values reinforces that discipline. Like, if you make this important to you, you're going to want to do it more, right? If it aligns with your core values. But most people don't sit down and think about, like, what is it that I truly value in life, you know? And then the path to fulfillment, right? So emotional durability allows men to pursue meaningful, purpose-driven lives. And the thing is about, like, when you become a purpose-driven man, you become so attractive, not just to women, but just everybody. Like, if you just gravitate people towards you. People love being around a guy that's on a mission, that's going somewhere, right? Especially women, though, you know. And if you are the kind of guy that has no ambition, and you know, you lack any kind of focus or goals or anything like that, you know, like, you're just sort of wandering through life, letting life happen to you. Like, it's just like, you're not in control of your life. You know, life happens to you and you just sort of react to everything. But once you become a purpose-driven man, where you set goals and you have a vision and you're like, I'm working towards this thing, now you start making life happen for you. You know, it's a lot of the stuff that I talk about when I talk about, like, my woo-woo law of attraction stuff. But it's just an excellent framework for life, and it allows you to take control of your life and send it in the direction that you want it to go. And then life stops happening to you, you know, life stops happening for you or starts happening for you at that point. All right, guys, that's all I got. Get AJ's book. We're almost done. We only have one episode left where we're going to go over chapter 10. That's next week. What is chapter 10? Chapter 10 is on, let's see here. There's also a conclusion too, but I'm not doing conclusions when I'm going through these books. Hold on. Where is chapter 10? Chapter 10 is on emotional durability and your life purpose. So we're really going to get into purpose next week, which is good. Because if you've had a hard time thinking about your purpose, it's so hard. It's so hard. It's like when I'm going through my coaching program, having guys think about what their purpose in life is, it's really hard, because it's almost like, it's really hard to, like, you know, most people have never sat down and thought about that sort of thing, right? All right. We have a couple of super chats here. We have Stripper sent a $5 Canadian, sending love and enough for a small bottle of VD lube. All right, we'll give you the shaking. Oh no, that's a $10 super chat. So we'll give you this one. We'll give you this one.
I was just gonna say it. This guy fucks. Am I right?
Yeah, this guy definitely fucks. Let's see here. Alex says, with Cappy's books, it's that he's catering to people who want someone else to do their thinking for them. Those of us in the know can read objectively. Yeah. I'm just busting Cappy's balls, you know, because he read my book and he said he did a whole video on 5 reasons I hate Paul's book. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. But the number one reason why Cappy hated my book was because I was right. I was right, is what he said. I'm going to give you this one.
Shame this horse.
Yes, shame these whores. I don't know I think Elena's pissed off at me because I got sort of ticked off at Elena the other day. I told her if she doesn't shut the fuck up, I'm going to ban her from my channel because she was arguing with me about something. I was saying how, I was basically like saying how one of my clients had a very good week, right? Where he did certain things and his wife responded in a very good way, which is sort of like, you know, it's like you can't focus on that, but it's also like a bonus, right? It's like, oh, it's good to see that the stuff that I'm teaching these guys is working in their relationship. Like their relationship's actually getting better. That's great. So I mentioned this thing, and then she made it all about how like you can't trust these whores and shit. And I was like, would you shut the fuck up? I'm trying to like put out there that the stuff that I'm doing is having a positive impact on one of my clients, and you're turning it into like, you know, a video about 304s. Like, God damn it, would you shut the fuck? And then she kept arguing with me about it. I'm like, I'm not arguing with you about this, Elena, but if you keep it up, I don't need you. Anyway, I like Elena, though. I do like Elena. Anyway, let's see here. Let's see. You see that in heated debate shows. Thoughts who can, let's see, who can keep a calm voice and respond in a rational manner get the most respect. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that happens in any kind of argument, you know? It's like if it's anyone who loses their shit in an argument, like people are like, whoa, why do you get so defensive, bro? Like, why do you get so defensive? Yeah, you ever heard someone say that? Like if someone gets, you know, all up in their feels about something and they get all defensive and people are like, man, why are you so defensive, man? Well, that's where like Deering comes in and like realizing, defending yourself, explaining yourself, rationalizing, making excuses. Like no one respects that shit, right? Least of all your wife. That's why we teach in the red pill space, and shout out to Dr. Glover for coming up with it. Don't do that shit, right? Don't be doing that kind of stuff, right? If you fucked up, like accept responsibility, move on. Most people respect that sort of thing, you know? Anyway, that's all we got, guys. I'm not, I think Jack Napier is hosting Rule Zero tomorrow. I think he's going to be doing it on, dating women under 35 and how women get pissed off about that. I don't know. I'm not sure who's hosting Dragon Ship. I'm not doing Rule Zero or Dragon Ship this weekend though. Not because I'm, you know, I don't like those guys, but because I just haven't been feeling good all week and I just want to take a fucking break. So I'm taking a break tomorrow from Rule Zero and Dragon Ship, but tune into the podcast on Monday. We're going to be talking about Ryan Stone's old Married Red Pill post about shutting up about leaving if your wife isn't fucking you, right? I mentioned that a couple of days ago. And I was like, man, that's really got me intrigued. You know, it's really got me intrigued. Ryan has this fucking crazy ability to make me think about shit. Right. And it reminds me of another old Married Red Pill post about, let's see, that Archwinger, my boy Archwinger came up with 2 years ago about, what is it? Don't talk, walk, and how, you know, sort of like trying to check your wife is validation seeking behavior, right? So he's like, basically don't say anything, just fucking leave her. And I've had conversations with like Paul Benjamin on that. And he's like, that's good advice for guys that haven't learned like good communication techniques to handle that sort of thing. You know, it's better to just not say anything at that point. So I kind of get that. And then what Ryan's really talking about is basically if your wife's not fucking you, trying to like set the tone and lead all of a sudden, she's not going to respect you. So she's not going to follow your lead. So you're going to have like this uphill battle. And I was like, okay, now I get that. I know exactly what you're talking about. I see it in my coaching clients. You know, I have a couple of coaching clients who their wives just don't respect them at all. And so when they try to like make decisions and do things like, hey, let's go out for dinner kind of thing, like, hey, grab your shoes, let's go to Chili's. Well, it's been so long since their wives have trusted them to do that sort of thing that their wives are like, no, we're not going. Right. And then there's no amount of shit you can do to make them want to go. So it's like, well, what do you do at that point? Well, I found an article that sort of goes hand in hand with that says, okay, well, you know, how to get your wife to follow your lead when she won't follow your lead, right? Like how to lead when your wife won't follow your lead, right? So we'll talk about Ryan's article, and we'll talk about like, you know, what he's basically pointing out there and all the good points he has. But then what do we do about that? Right. So that's what Monday's episode is going to be on, those 2 Married Red Pill archives. And that should be a really good show. I've got that broken down already. It's already broken down into a very streamlined thing, and it'll give you lots of actionable information. If you're in that place where you're trying to set the tone and lead, but your wife just doesn't fucking respect your ass, right? So she's not following, right? How do you get a woman to follow you who won't follow you? That's what we're going to talk about on Monday. All right. So that's all we got, guys. Do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. Where are we at here? There we go. Do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. We have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And Fridays are always Frame Fridays, right? It's all about your mindset, mental attitude, emotional control, that kind of stuff. So if nothing else, tune into Frame Fridays. I have a friend in Israel right now who he's like, that's all I tune into for now anymore. He's like, I only tune into the Frame Friday shit. Like, good. Yeah, like cool. That's awesome. Thanks for everyone that sounded off in the live chat. If you guys are watching the replay, drop a comment below. Thanks for the super chats, guys. I really appreciate that. Man, that really helps the show so much. You guys don't even understand. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list. That way, if I ever get banned from a platform, I can at least tell you what I'm doing. I've also been putting out daily tips, right? So if your relationship's been going downhill, one, get the ebook. It'll tell you why that probably is. And then every day I've been sending out daily tips on things to think about on how to start changing that dynamic. So I'm not just spamming you with shit, right? It's actually giving you actionable information on a daily basis. So check that out. Get my books. All 3 of my books are available at books.comeonmanpod.com. They're also all available on Audible. Oh, that's my fitness course. You can go do that too. It's there. Beer Club. Join Beer Club. Our next hangouts next week on Thursday. Go to beer.comeonmanpod.com. And then if you guys need help with your relationship, I would recommend, at the very least, if your relationship's going downhill, get the book, right? Get Her to Fuck You Again. If you need help with that, things aren't going the way you're expecting, we probably need to look at your specific situation better. That would be a perfect opportunity for you to get with me and start working one-on-one with me. Cause then I can, like we have a certain, ground sort of framework with Get Her to Fuck You Again. But then my one-on-one coaching, I can help you with your specific situation, right? Like what's going on. And then in between calls, like you have direct access to me over Telegram. So you can reach out to me saying, hey, my wife's doing this and this, like, how do I handle that? Like I'm pretty good about replying pretty quickly to that kind of stuff. So let's work together, man. Go to call.fixeddadbedrooms.com. All right. That's all we got. We will see you guys on Monday.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.